Today's video is going to discuss compound interest. Compound interest occurs when interest is calculated on both the principal amount and the accrued interest thus far. So what that means is that if I have a certain amount of money in an account and it gains a 1% interest. So if we start with $1 at 1% interest, then whenever it gains interest, it's going to have 1.01, so $1.01. But then whenever that gains interest again, it's going to gain interest on the interest. So it keeps compiling or compounding. And so that 1.01 is going to turn into 1.0101. And it's going to take a long time to build up, but it's going to keep building on itself. And so you gain interest on the interest. Anyway, the formula for compound interest is capital A equals capital P times 1 plus R over N to the N times T. So the P value is the principal or initial amount. The R is the rate, typically interest rate. N is the number of times compounded each year. And then T is time in years. So these variables mean a little bit different things for compound interest than they did for exponential growth and decay. Make sure you note that. Our first example says, Laura deposited $12,000 into an account that earns 8% interest. How much money will she have in 5 years if the interest is compounded quarterly? So let's first choose the important things. Laura deposited $12,000. That seems important. In an account that earns 8% interest, that seems important. How much money will she have in 5 years? That's probably important. If the interest is compounded quarterly. All right, so we've got all of our important stuff here. So let's go ahead and try to find all the information we need to write an equation. So we need to know what P equals, what R equals, what N equals, and what T equals. So P is the initial amount. She deposited $12,000. R is the rate. It is 8% interest rate, but again, we have to divide that by 100 to use it, so it's 0.08. And then N is how many times per year that the interest is compounded. So this one is compounded quarterly, so that means it's 4 times per year, once every quarter. So N is going to equal 4. And then T is how long the money has been there, so in years, the time in years. And our problem says 5 years. It wants to know how much money will be in the account. And that is what our equation is used to find. This A value, that's how much money is in the account after however many years that we're doing. All right, so this equation is going to be 12,000 times 1 plus R over N to the N times T power. Okay, so 12,000 times 1 plus 0.08 over 4 to the 4 times 5 power. So if we simplify this a little bit, it's going to be 1.02 to the 20th power, and then get that in our calculators, and we're going to find that in her account after 5 years, she's going to have $17,831.37. That's quite a bit of money in just 5 years. So let's do another example. This problem says a savings account offers 0.8% interest compounded bi-monthly If Bob deposited $300 into this account, how much interest will he earn after 10 years? So 10 years, but then it asks us how much interest. That is different. So it doesn't just want to know what the new amount is. It wants to know how much we gained, how much interest we gained. So we're going to find the new amount and then subtract the original amount from that to tell us how much of it was interest that we earned. So the values we need to find are P, R, N, and T. P is the initial amount that was deposited, $300. R is the rate. It is 0.08%, so we have to divide that by 100, and we're going to get 0.008. N is how many times per year that it's compounded. It is compounded bi-monthly. That means 2 times per month. So that means that N is going to equal 24 because 24 times a year is how often it is compounded. And then it wants to know how much interest there will be after 10 years. So let's plug all of this into our formula and see what we can find out. 300 times 1 plus 0.008 divided by 24 to the 24 times 10 power. So this is going to be 300 times 1.0003 repeating to the 240th power. So when you type this into your calculator, you should get about $324.98. Your rounding could make it a cent off, maybe. And then we need to find, though, how much interest he gained. So he initially put $300 in there. So we're going to do $324.98 minus $300, and that is going to equal $24.98 that he gained in interest over 10 years. All right, thank you guys for listening and have a great day.